the things we do for Halloween. Hey everybody, how you guys doing there today? Welcome back to another episode of Halloween at the Manor. Well, today is Saturday, July the 9th, and we are, I believe it was 112 days away from Halloween. So I'm gonna call this video the very first haunt update video of the year. Just like last year, we did a video for all of our Carnival updates. We're gonna do the same thing this year for our 2022 haunt here. If you've seen some of our videos, the last couple ones, we are going back to our cemetery. So we did that in previous years, and it was pretty cool. Vanessa and I both thought that last year's Carnival haunt was very successful. It seemed like the kids really enjoyed it, the adults enjoyed it, and we really think the reason why is because it was interactive. You know, we had a small walkthrough setup where the kids came up the driveway, went down the sidewalk, went through the little 10 by 10 canopy we had, we called the Big Top of Horrors, and then back out into the sidewalk. We want to do that again this year, and instead of using a canopy, we're actually going to try and build an actual walkthrough. And right now, I have my plans here. The walkthrough we're looking at doing is going to be roughly 32 feet in length and roughly about 12 to 14 feet wide. And it's going to actually have a couple of turns, and what we'll end up doing is we'll end up spitting them out back into the sidewalk again. So I'm going to take you over here to the yard and show you what we're kind of talking about here. But like I said, this is going to be the first haunt update, and hopefully you guys enjoy these and we'll watch these, and we'll take you right up to the big day, October 31st, 2022. And let's go check this out. So if you saw any of our Carnival haunt videos last year, you guys will know that basically what we did is we had the kids come up the driveway here. We funneled them down through the sidewalk, and of course we had the entire yard over here covered with, you know, clown props and things like that. And then we had a really small tent here set up, a little canopy, and we called that our Big Top of Horrors. Now this is actually where we're going to be putting our new walkthrough this year. It's going to butt up right against the fence, and it's going to go out 32 feet. And then it'll be, we're not sure if it's going to go 12 or 14 feet wide yet. We want to make the actual, we're thinking about having 3 rows, so we want to make those rows comfortable for people so they're not like bumping up against the walls. But what'll end up happening is we're going to have a doorway right here, and they're going to go in, they're going to come down, go up the middle, come back around, and then they're actually going to walk out the mausoleum facade that I built 2 years ago. So normally what we did for our cemetery in past years was this part of the yard was the actual cemetery, and honestly we really didn't have too much going on over here in this part of the yard. But this year what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn the entire front yard here into our cemetery. So the reason why I was building all of that fencing was I'm actually going to line this all the way down and up with that fencing that I started to build. And that's going to be in a video here. I don't know if I'll have that video up before this or after this, but so I built 16 8-foot sections of cemetery fencing. I still have to paint it, but that's going to cover all of this here. And we are going to, like I said, have the walkthrough over here. So this entire yard here is going to be covered in tombstones and different props and things like that. So that's what we're looking at doing this year. So we don't really have an actual theme like Carnival last year. It's basically just going to be like a cemetery scene. We are going to do, if you guys saw my video last year, I did the I call it the Sleepy Hollow Scarecrow. He's going to be right into these front windows here. Right in front of these front windows, we're going to have like hay bales and pumpkins, and just have like a creepy little typical Halloween scene there. And then basically the walkthrough is going to be the same thing. Have the kids go up the driveway, come down the sidewalk. The walkthrough will be over here. They'll go through the walkthrough, and then they'll come out right here. So that's basically what we're kind of thinking for this year. All right, guys. So the structure of the walkthrough, the walls, I decided to make these panels here, and I'm going to show you in a few seconds here how I make them. They are 7 feet tall and 4 foot wide. The plan for this was I wanted to make the walls easy to put up, easy to take down. I'm gonna say easy to store, even though they are 7 feet tall and 4 feet wide, but I have found a spot in the garage for them. This is 15 frames. I think I need somewhere between 23 to 28, I'm not sure yet. But what I like about this is, last year we used the canopy, and it's easy to set up a canopy, it pops up, but the biggest pain in the butt was putting the tarp on it, putting all the zip strips on it, taking all the zip strips off. That was just a major pain in the butt. So what we plan on doing is, we're gonna use these frames, we're gonna cover them in black sheeting, and then we're going to, you know, basically, I put a post down here, some PVC where we can run rebar through it. That'll hold it up. And then what we'll do is we'll just bolt each of these on top of one another together. So this should be pretty sturdy. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do as far as the roof goes. I'm leaning towards doing what they call a soft roof, which basically means that we would just throw either a tarp over it or some more of the black sheeting to cover it. So I'm not quite sure yet what we're gonna do with the roof. We're also not quite sure what we're gonna do with what we're actually gonna do in the walkthrough as far as like props and stuff. But the first thing first is we're gonna build these, get these set up outside in the backyard to test it, and then kind of go from there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how I make these. They're pretty easy to make if you wanted to make them on your own, but you'll see here right now. To make one of these panels for the walkthrough, you're going to need 4 2x2x8 furring strips. You could also use 1x2x8s if you wanted to go a little bit cheaper. I just like to use the 2x2s, thinking it's gonna be a little bit more sturdier. One of these we're gonna cut at 4 feet, and the other 3 we're gonna cut at 81 inches. The 4 feet pieces are gonna be the top and the bottom, and then the 81-inch pieces are going to be the sides and the one down the middle. So that is going to give us exactly 7 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So why don't we go ahead, we'll start measuring these and we'll get these cut. So the next step here is, now that we have all of our pieces cut, on one of the 4x4s, and again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm doing this to try to make our walkthrough more secure. This is going to be where we run the PVC pipe through. So on one of these 4x4 strips, we are going to measure out to 1 foot. And at this 1 foot mark, we are going to drill in or burrow in a hole. Here we now have a hole burrowed for the PVC that we're going to use. The PVC that I'm using is 1/2-inch PVC. To get the hole wide enough for the 1/2-inch PVC, you have to use a 1/7 inch spade bit. That works perfectly with 1/2-inch PVC. So the next step here is we're going to use a drill, and we're going to use a bit here, and we're going to pre-drill holes in all of the corners here so that when we put the screws in, this wood doesn't split. Right, so now that we have everything cut and all the holes pre-drilled, we're gonna start putting the frame together. I'm going to be using 3-inch deck screws to put this frame together. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put bolt all the columns together, screw all the columns together, and then we're gonna put the one down the middle here. For the middle post, we're gonna measure 2 feet in, and this is where we are gonna put our middle post at the 2-foot mark here. So all we're gonna do is line this thing up at 2 feet, take a screw, and we're gonna be doing the exact same thing on the other side as well. Okay, so now that we have everything bolted together, the next step is going to be, we wanna put in basically another piece of 2x2 here so we can run the piece of PVC in here where we're gonna put our rebar. This, between here and here, is gonna be roughly 21 3/4 inches. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut a piece of 2x2 to 21 3/4 inches, and I'm going to then bore a hole in that, just like here, and then we can run the PVC through it. So now that we have the 2x2 here cut to 21 3/4 inches, I just wanna know where I have to bore the hole at. So basically I'm just kind of lining this up here, making a mark as to where the hole is here, and this is where I'm gonna be boring my second hole for the PVC. Okay, so now that we have the hole bored here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure up 1 foot or 12 inches. What we want is, we're gonna be using 2-foot rebar or 24-inch rebar and put that into the ground. Basically what we want is we want that rebar to be a foot in the ground and the other foot sticking up will be in the PVC here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put 2 screws in here to get this bolted in. So I have some leftover PVC from our Carnival last year, and I'm just gonna be using this. Again, this is a 1/2-inch piece of PVC. All I'm gonna do is put this at the top here, and then put a mark here where the bottom of the 2x2 is. And this is where we're going to cut this so that we can slide this in here and have an anchor. So now we're gonna feed the PVC through these here. I suggest that you get a rubber mallet. They're pretty cheap and they make this a lot easier than trying to push this through with your hands. The last step here is we're just going to put a screw in here at the top here to lock in this PVC so it doesn't slide out. I'm just using a 1 1/4 inch screw. You can use anything, 1 inch, 3/4 inch, basically just any kind of screw to get this to just stay in place. All right guys, so that's how I'm making the panels for the walkthrough here. One thing I wanted to mention about the PVC piece down there. You do not have to do that if you don't want to. This walkthrough is going to be outside, so I just want to make sure that this thing is really secure when we set this up. If you would want to do this in, let's say, like your garage, where you're not going to have like the wind and the elements, you do not have to do the PVC thing. Another thing too is that I'm using 2x2x8s. You can use 1x2x8s as well. They're roughly $2 cheaper than the 2x2s, so you can definitely get away with the 1x2s as well. Again, especially if you're doing it in your garage, you definitely don't need to do the 2x2x8s. So that's just a couple things to think about. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please stay tuned. There are going to be a lot more of these haunt update videos, just like there was last year. I have a lot of other things that I'm working on as well. There's a lot of work to do. but a lot of it is going to revolve around us setting up this walkthrough here. So once I have all the walls built, I think I only need a few more. We're actually going to set this thing up in the backyard and kind of test it out, play around with the configuration and things like that, make sure it's sturdy. So definitely when we set that up in the backyard, you know, we'll videotape that and show you guys as well in one of our future updates. But anyway, I really want to thank you guys a lot for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care.